Welcome to the Grand Design Series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we're picking up on the 9th of September 2015, which I think is just over a year on from the end of the last part. It's a little bit further than I originally intended because I want to populate this new town here. But what I decided to do was play on and kind of fend off the over 21s. So I'll talk more about that later on, until this area was virtually complete, at least in a minimal stage, because what I want to do is make this the last actual proper gameplay video in the series. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be the last video, because what I want to do past that is, once I've got this area set up in this video and this industry running, I'm going to play on a little bit, and then I'm going to make a video where I'm going to review the whole economy and talk about the successes, the failures, and also, more importantly, some of the key lessons that I've actually learned in doing this series. And I'll be completely upfront, I've learned a heck of a lot. There's nothing like getting an economy up to nearly 60,000 people to really focus your mind on some of the detail of the game, and one or two mechanics which certainly become very problematic as your economy grows. And then beyond that, my curiosity's got to the point where what I'm going to do is let the game run and see how quickly the economy falls apart and in which way. And I'm going to try and make a prediction. The other main driver for bringing this series to an end is that I'm recording this on the 21st of May 2025, and the new early start DLC comes out tomorrow. So that is the current situation. Now, the game's on pause simply because we're on the 9th of September. It took a little bit longer to get this area set up, and the biggest problem, and I'll be completely upfront, I actually came out of realistic mode to bring some of the vehicles up here, because being this far out on the map, it was taking ages to get trucks in. Like, at the moment, I've got a single covered hole here moving things. There's other trucks on the way, and the same with the I'm pretty sure I've got I've got a couple of fire trucks in here and 2 helicopters to fight fires. And again, another example is these excavators. And I thought, well, seeing this is the last part, I couldn't wait another 6 months, mainly because I just don't have the actual time in real life. And that also applied to here, getting all these vehicles out here, and getting all the vehicles out to this area here was a real pain in the neck, just waiting for them to get out there. And this is something that I had never really considered before, because in the past I just clicked and went away and played for as long as it took, and then came back and found the vehicles there. I think I need to come up with a strategy for a future series, or for the next series, on how to move vehicles around, and that touches on something to do with vehicle manufacture as well. Now, to give a bit more of an update of what's kind of going on, I've got a problem with hazardous waste. So what I'm doing now is shipping the hazardous waste down to here. And what I've noticed is the hazardous waste tends to come in cycles, which makes it quite difficult for maintaining a stable processing. But what I've got is I've got spare capacity down here. So that's something else to do. The other thing I also did, if you watch the previous video, if I come into here and come over here, I was monitoring the little glitch in this area, and to be honest, in the end, I came out of realistic mode and turned off demolition and rebuilt these tracks, and I've now fixed that problem. In fact, the train's just leaving. That was just getting a little bit much, to be honest. In fact, I'll just show it to you now. If we watch this train come in, if we get a nice close up and let the game slow in, you see now the train comes in properly and loads up and leaves. So I think it was something to do with this area here that was confusing the game. It's almost like the game thought that both these tracks were connected to one side of the ore processing there. Now, another near miss is probably the best way to describe this I had up here. And it was a bit of a, because of course, if you watch the previous video, I was saying that I kind of was sending down more and more food down across the map. And what the game seemed to do was it was kind of moving the big food around. Make sure that that is to the larger areas, especially Aluminium Town here and down to this town here, these two large settlements. And it was neglecting this area. And of course, as this was neglected, these started to suffer from a food shortage. So what I've done in the end, and truthfully upon reflection, given the distance, I should have done it in the first place, is that this isn't supply. The food supplies don't actually come by train anymore. They actually come by this truck here. This is something I set up just to provide the repair workshop, but there's enough covered holes. One thing I did do, and I kept returning back to moving vehicles. I can't remember where I did it. I think it was involved in moving to the new town. Is I kind of got a little bit of a conveyor going where I stole. Actually, it's this one here. This covered hole here. I actually stole from a distribution office over here somewhere, or was it over down there? So what I was doing is looking for a distribution office like this that isn't doing very much. And then what I did is I nicked the covered hole from here. I went to another one and moved up another one until I got to a point where I could actually select something that goes there. What is that over there? Oh, it's a broken down bus. So I had a minor crisis there. But beyond that, everything went pretty well. Oh, the other thing also is up here. I had another little bit of a crisis with this open hole. You can see it's again, I stole this open hole from somewhere actually no, I actually had the open hole in here. So actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it while I remember. This is what you could call some preemptive planning. Again, the open hole here started to wear out, and you can see this one here is at 74% already at 14 years. For some reason, these won't get replaced. In fact, I think I'm going to bring in another one. I know I could bring it up from the our vehicle production area. I'm thinking to bring up a second one. These will wear out very quickly, and of course I've got all my eggs in one basket now with respect to this nuclear power station. This nuclear power station shuts down. It's the economy is toast. There's not many areas that are powered independently, but that will be the subject of the next video. So we're now ready to go. Now I've got I've got 3,875 over 21s, but if you've been following the series, you'll be aware that I've been having a bit of a crime problem, and it seems to be kind of creeping across the map, and it's now in this area. I don't know if I can find it. Fire extinguished electricity, train waiting too long, traffic jam. And I think part of the problem is that if I come into here and I expand this, you'll see that I've got and with these small buildings, the crime is kind of emphasized. But what I have been looking at, this is probably not a very good example. Let me just find a bigger building. There we are, nice big building here. If I show you the over 21s, what you'll see is that some of these over 21s have got very high crime rates. So you've got one here with 12%. So I got a feeling that once your economy gets really big, you get this perpetual problem with the fact that your over 21s hanging around for long times to get somewhere, especially if the economy stops growing. So what I'm actually going to do is something I've never really done before, is I'm actually going to decrease the birth rate. That's the first thing I'm going to do, and that's the first time I've ever done that research. we're going to decrease the birth rate. Now we're going to populate that new area there. But what I'm going to do is we're going to do something a little bit kind of odd. Actually, I'm just going to put the overlay on. Because if I open up and let all those over 21s in, life could get a little bit difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for some of the bigger buildings around that have got quite high crime rates. Because what yeah, we've got 9% there. You have to be a little bit careful. I can't take too much from. Anyway, I think Stilton is pretty good. I think probably when you get the economy to this point, what you've got to do is go a little bit over the top with respect to the kind of the crime prevention. This one's not too bad. And I've been to Stilton, haven't we? I think what we can do is go all the way to the top of the map. I had a where is it? It's I don't think the crime rate's that high here, and I don't really want to mess with this. We did get some high crime rate here. We've got 9%, 4%, 5%. Okay, I mean I don't want too many of these buildings, but I have a plan. I think I've got the crime rate reasonably under control here. Yeah, I think we're okay. We just got a few. I mean, this is more of an example. I'll be very interested in your opinion. So what I'm going to do is we're going to open up a couple of key buildings to let the over 21s in. And of course, these over 20, these we're going to let them in. We'll let the game run on fast. Now, what I'm going to do here is we're going to turn off that, and we're going to move all these into here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite new residents in. So what I'm actually doing is trying to get some of the bigger criminals out the way. Oops. And then by bringing in some, I mean, these are going to be unhappy about being moved, and then we're going to invite a whole load of immigrants back into here. So that, well, I might leave a smidge of a gap with that one. Oops. Game, we're just going to send. The idea is I'm catching the really high criminals in these areas, sending them to here where we can then police them a little bit, and that hopefully might reduce. And because we're bringing in legitimate people from outside, obviously we can't do this on a massive scale, but move you in there. Oops. So you can see we're getting the high crime rates in here. Invite some immigrants in. Right. How are we doing? Right, we got workers there. Do we have anybody in the water plant? That's the sewage plant. Got that's been manned. No, garbage overflow. I suppose it goes without saying that I would forget something here. Right, we're going to need to build. I think part of this is down to the fact that I've been rushing a little bit to try and get all this done. So I haven't really done the detailed work that I would normally do. Go there, set this on. The other thing I haven't been doing is actually working on the priorities. Traffic jam, yep. We're going to allow. Of course, these are going to complain a little. Okay, you can get in I don't think we're going to let any more in just yet. We'll allow some into that one. Just unable to get food. I think it should settle down relatively quickly. That's got it there. Into there, into there. How many over 21s have I got? I've still got 3,000. No, we're just going to let it run, let things settle down. Yeah, garbage container overflows. I really bad mistake there. What I'm doing with the garbage here is we're not using trains, we're actually just using trucks to take it. But what I have done up here is built these, but you can see the trains are still building the connection in here. Again, I'd wait for this to be built, but I couldn't really, I don't really have the time to do it. Let's just check of course this is going to be our last kind of railway project. It's all queued up there, it just needs to get done. So what we need to do, I mean, in theory, I've got everything here. I've got a truck here that we should get some chemicals delivered. Let me just see if there's any associated trains. Yeah, we've got chemicals on the way. Now, I know it seems a contradiction to have chemicals come delivered to a plant that produces chemicals, but we got to prime this, and that needs chemicals. So we need chemicals in order to make chemicals to begin with. I think this we can now put on, get the Stilton helicopters working on that. Whether we're going to get enough of a critical mass here to be able to build this up is another issue. We can get workers in here, we can produce gravel. And just to show you, I've been bringing in crops. There's not that much at the moment. Again, there's a little bit of my impatience there. That needs to be built, I think, as well. But one concern I do have about this building is these draw a lot of power. I mean, if I show you here, chemical plant, you can see its power consumption is 197 megawatts. It's got a circuit breaker of 3.3 megawatts. Now, this has, as far as I can tell, I'm just going to double check. This has no direct power consumption connection. But the actual, they can only supply 2.50. So what I've done is I put another electric substation here, because I think at full capacity this is going to be quite impressive on a drain on the overall power supply. Traffic jam, let's just go check this. Yeah, yeah, these guys are queuing up. The hazardous dump is, as I say, hazardous waste seems to come in cycles. I don't know exactly why it's still off the overlay. As I say, I'm not 100% certain why why you get this cyclic form going here. I saw a vehicle here braking. I mean, citizens' happiness is too low, yes. Because I've moved in criminals and people. I don't think we've got any unemployment just yet. I'm going to push the workforce a little bit harder than, again, normally what I would do is just let the population come in and settle down. Train waiting too long. Yeah, I would let the population settle down and do things. Ignore the signal, come on, you can do it. Yeah, before building it up to a level that requires industry. The other thing I've also done here is I've kind of been running these substations out into this oil field because it's now technically within range of a firefighter. That's just to get rid of that annoying message that comes here. The other thing I've also been doing is turning off these pollution meters, because as far as I can tell there is no pollution, but it keeps telling me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just turning them off, just to try and reduce the amount of messages that I'm getting, which will be something I will talk about in the wind up video. Right, just let some more in and some more in. We're at 58,000 at the moment, so we'll let those get in and settle down as well. Okay, well, the shopping mall seems to be doing its thing. Are you in range of the hospital? Yep, right. You hazardous waste. You take the hazardous waste. I'm probably going to need to put in some more waste dumps, or waste collection centres, not dumps. We'll put one just in there. This is something I did forget all about. This will probably tell me, okay, let's get the helicopter crews on it. They don't have a lot of work. The police station, we should be able to do it. We're starting to get a few kids in, but that's because I brought up population from there. You've got vehicle repair station, which I'm going to need to do something about, but I'm not going to worry about that in this part because the vehicles are fairly new. Plus I need a distribution office. Let me just put in, I've got this distribution office which is doing alcohol, but I think what we're going to do is put another distribution office here. Okay, you've got no power, but we have got a substation here. I think we can just tuck the, don't really need to put a, what was that? Oh, that's the wrong building. Get rid of it. Don't need a night soil distribution. That is an early start mod. It's got its uses, but one key lesson I have learned from this series is if you're using modded distribution set offices, make sure you've got one that's got a parking capacity in it. Yeah, I've got the plastics and everything there, so we can I steal yeah, well, we got a couple here. These guys actually deliver to the rail construction yard. What I'm going to do is bring you up there. What I've done is, one thing I've noticed is, and this is to do with vehicle replacement. I know it's got nothing whatsoever to do with what we're actually populating. What I've found is that, yeah, we've got run out again. I think it's because covered holes and open stores, you often buy them in blocks when you expand. And what seems to happen is that they all get replaced in very, very quick succession. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. One thing I will be doing in the next part, because I won't be recording it until the DLC and the update's been released, so I'll be looking at the process of automated vehicle production, where you can set up a list, because I think where you have a major expansion, then you get these waves of it's mainly open holes and covered holes. But to be honest, I think going forward, we're going to need to get some workers. What I want to do is we're going to bring in workers here and here. I'm just going to keep sucking up all these over 21s. I think the downside of using these buildings is that they kind of take up, they kind of need to spread out a lot further to get stuff into here. Okay, we're now getting a few workers coming into here. Now, it goes without saying that we're not really going to get the, if we follow this train, how many, okay, you've actually got a full complement of workers on. Right. This is us getting the industry up and running. 575 workers, wow. The problem is if we don't have chemicals, then this could be a bit of a bust. We will get some workers into the fire station, which is going to be quite important. We should get them into here, which means we're going to produce gravel. Gravel's the one thing that's missing. If we come into here, you see we got, oh, we got gravel. Okay, so we must have got some workers in here. We're now producing water. And we're now producing chemicals. So what I've got to do now is reverse this process. You've got to unload chemicals. But you've got to load come here. Oops, wait, go on, you can do it. And what you're going to do is get the chemicals to there. Now I've got a bit of a dilemma at the moment. I've got a train distribution office. Where are you? Oh, over here. Question is, where are we going to send the chemicals? I think up here. I think what I'm going to do is we've got the ship delivering chemicals here. We've got 2,000 tons of chemicals in it. I think to begin with, and what I'm going to do is send the chemicals while I work out how to distribute them. Yeah, we've got 175 there. I think what we're going to do is push this out a little bit further now. So we got maybe reduce you a little bit. Say, and then we're going to push chemicals to here. So probably for the purposes of this series is what we're just going to do is export the chemicals for profit. This is going a little bit faster than I thought it would. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, thinking, kind of half expecting that I would need more oomph out here. I think what I will do then, if the game is going to be this obliging, I don't think I've got any more infrastructure. Let's have a look underground. Yeah, I think I've got the pipelines here. Let's make sure the sewage outflow is going out. Sewage tank import, pollution. So, I mean, that's going like Billio already. And all we've got out here is industry. Do we have fuel in here? Yes, we got fuel in here. That's good. Got no idea where the fuel's coming from. I do need this built because if we can power up this area here, yeah, it's looking good actually. I'm quite happy with this. Just want to check that the trains are still on the ball. They seem to be kind of a little bit on strike at the moment. Where's Wastebri? Something tells me that I'm gonna probably need this operating fairly quickly. Okay, what we got here? What are you doing? You're delivering crops. I think these are both delivering crops. Where are you from? Okay, yeah, they're operating from here. Of course, if this series was going to go on further, we would probably start looking at producing crops up in this area as well, just to subsidize the overall kind of process. Wow, we produced 40 tons of chemicals already. Wow. This thing is impressive. I think I could probably shut down the whole enterprise here. I think what we will do is, what have we got here? Got 298 tons of chemicals. I think what we'll do is, I think you've got the warehouse. Where are we going to export the chemicals to? This one is over here. I think we'll export the chemicals to the west. And yeah, I was going to show the economy. You can see here at the moment, if we go back last month, you can see we're making 151 million a month at the moment. And you can see the numbers are getting so big with the exports to the Soviet bloc. You can see here our primary exports are fuel, bitumen, nuclear fuel, and a little bit of UF6, then followed by explosives. And then we're dumping off surplus meat, foods, and then we come down to cement, a little bit of alcohol. The gravel is me dumping off surplus gravel from somewhere. You can see we're not really selling off that much steel anymore. In fact, I probably could do with stopping that, really. Although technically our construction is winding down now. So if I come to here, yeah, you can see the effect now. Now that we're not actually building everything in sight all the time now, we're actually gaining on the overall construction. Okay. Can't tell these guys to ignore the... Oh, this is going to be a problem, isn't it? Why aren't they crossing the... It's this guy, isn't it? Oh, that's a mistake, isn't it? I'm going to get... This is not good. I'm going to have to try and find a way around this. What's happening is this guy has come into here and it's now blocking everything. See, this is the type of thing that could cause problems. I think it's this guy here. I think because he's on this station. I think it may be if I put you one there. I think what we're going to do is change this mix signal to there. Remove you. That's better. Yeah, what was causing that is because this train is loading. The game thinks that he's actually in this block. That's better. It's a type of mistake that will cause stability problems with the... So that should fix that problem. And of course, these guys are good. This is where you get the surge of waste and other stuff. Because of course, it probably means that if I come over to here, yeah, this area is now filling up. So that's probably been going on. This is the way that this game can be quite sneaky. Because it probably means that my dumps up here are... Yeah, these are full as well. That's probably been going on for a very, very long time. Glad I spotted that. You can see here it's still... Because this line is just too busy. I'm just wondering if I can alleviate this problem a little bit more. If I put a signal there, move that one, and put... Although that him stopping there is... Move that one. So you got... This is where, because the lines are getting busy. Move you. That might actually make the flow a little bit faster. Because it's stopping the train this side. Oops. Let's turn off the signals. Just double check this area here. This area is flowing quite nicely. Do these guys have any problems? Got a little bit of unemployment, but that's not a problem. This is now built. We're still one of these. We're going to need a cupboard hole to move the steel. I do have this guy here. We need vehicles. Right. Right. Gravel you can get from here. Asphalt and concrete is going to be a challenge. I think you guys are going to have to rely on the helicopter maintenance crews to boards, mech components, electric components. Get that there. Let me see if I can steal an open hole from somewhere. That's a dumper, that's no good. Someone's there, we got an open hole here. This is my kind of technique for doing it, and then probably the truth be known that this probably doesn't need to. What are you actually doing? Yeah, you're only moving the aluminium, so really you only really need one open hole there. Just as a bit of feedback on this situation here, things are kind of getting back under control here with respect to the polluted waste again. So the biological waste does slowly degrade over time, but it does take time. You can see now that this is kind of emptying out and it's getting a little bit more efficiently. But of course, what's actually happening is we're probably dumping. We've probably filled up the hazardous waste dump down here now. That's not too bad. I think once you get really big major industries, hazardous waste becomes a really big pain in the neck. Actually, how are we doing here? I actually built 3 of these, and there was a reason I built the 3rd one, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it actually is. Actually, has this been electrified, or do I have to do all this again? Let me just do a quick. Nope, we've got to electrify it now. Great. Okay, guys, yeah, you're on again. I think to begin with, you're going to have to start. Luckily, electrification doesn't take that long. Oh, the other thing also is I actually built a section of wooden track here. This would be quite useful for if you do an early start. Seems to upgrade a wooden track to a concrete track, all you need is prefabs, which is I found is quite interesting because I actually built. I can't remember where it was. Here, I actually accidentally put wooden track down, and the old track layer did virtually a whole section in one go. Got the oil there flowing in. That's good. If we get any unemployment, actually, what we could do, just for completeness, is get the guys working on this. Got no idea what we're going to do with the chemical fertilizer, but we've got 40 tons in here. Traffic jam. I better pay attention to these traffic jams. This is just what are you doing? Oh, again, this is an example of oh, this is they're rebuilding this because it's subject to maintenance. I think the problem we've got here is this is now full. I've got to find somewhere to send these. Where can I send these? I need a. Oh well, we got a. I don't think I've got a road vehicle depot, have I? I thought I built one. I'm absolutely certain I built one somewhere. Yeah, what's happened here? This is filled up. Oh, well, I know where one is. Over in our new town over here. There's definitely one over here somewhere. Because I built it. Yeah, okay, let me just go here. I go up to here. Right, let me just come here and come back to here. We don't need microbuses. We could probably send one of you there. Send a police car. Yeah, a couple of snowplows up here would be useful in the long term. What we got here? The road crane we can send to the construction office. We can build this up. And actually we can put another one in here. This is working out quite well, actually. Do with a couple of buses as well. I mean, technically these are just maintenance guys. Actually, we could put a couple of a microbus in there as well, and another bus that will get there. Actually, I'm going to send a refrigerated truck out here just as a backup because I might need that. Dry bulk. I've got another snowplow out here. I think I've got. I'm sure I built a technical office that's got snowplows in. Yes, it has. Fire truck. Anything else? Oh, concrete mixer, but we got no access to concrete. Okay, let me just copy you to there. We'll push you out to 2,000. I think 2,000 meters is probably enough. Actually, we'll go back to 1,000. I don't want you, all I want you to do is maintain this area. How are we doing? How are we doing for over 21? So still got 2,600. The darker side of me kind of thinks that if you get to this point in the game and you've got a large economy, what you need is some kind of rough gulag somewhere on a non-essential industry that you can let over 21s flow into, and they have a tough life and they either don't stay very long or they just disappear. Cannot store export chemicals. Wow. This is crazy. Let me just see. This thing is really okay. Let me yeah, well, technically the only thing we need in here is chemicals, so 100%. Whoops. 100%. Okay, we're going to start really exporting the chemicals. Let me just check. I mean, it'd be great to try and consider getting rid of it. What I'd need to do now is we've got this ship here. It's got 1,600 tons of chemicals in it. We're not really burning through the chemicals. I could use it as an emergency reserve. What's the chemical situation up here? 24 tons. See, my instinct is to bring chemicals up to this area, but we need somewhere to store them. Got 69 tons of chemicals there. We got a little bit of spare capacity here. So what I could do is go back to here. Pick up this rail distribution office. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the weeds in this part because sorting out distribution offices and things like that is time consuming because you've got to do it fairly slowly. Chemicals, I don't want. I'll set you to 70%. What we'll do is bring chemicals up to here. It's only 69 tons, but what I can do is fiddle this around once the chemicals start to arrive. And then what we can do is use this as a contingency store should this area kind of get a little bit out of control. I think I reduced the workload here because they were actually producing too much electronics. I don't know if there's a bottleneck here, is there? No, yeah, the bottleneck is steel. It's quite an intriguing process, actually, to be honest. Anyway, we've got this area operating. This guy's getting a bit confused over his route, but that's okay. We are going to need to get... How many trains have I got here? I don't really want to use waste... how overloaded is this area here? Have you got any trains sat around doing nothing? I doubt it, but no. Okay. Oh, we've got one train here. One train's not going to be enough to remove the waste from here. Right. What we're going to have to do is... What is my rail production area doing here? I've got loads and loads of... I don't think I've... Yes, I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. We'll move these. Oops, that's a mistake. Wrong click there, but we can move him because he can move on his own power. So, and we're really, what I should have is something like this to store the trains in. Move you over. We're doing some T63s up north. Just do that. This is the train I want. You can go up to here. Right, we're now on the 23rd of November, and probably for the final time in this series, we're just going to check our crops. Let me just do this. I think after quite a long time, I've actually managed to get the farming to the point now where we're virtually getting all the crops. The fertility is been good. So I think the farming has been one of my successes, or maybe not quite such a big success. I've obviously got a bit of a problem in this area. Yeah, we're not. We got little bits of crops left in that one there. Let me just check here. You can see now the rate of consumption of crops is so high that these silos aren't filling up anymore. Or this one is, but these don't get a chance to fill up now because they're emptying so fast. And that's the same with this one. This is fully harvested, but we don't have a full load in here anymore. That's just down to the sheer amount of crops that's been kind of brought in. You can see again, they're just clearing up the final little bits and pieces. Anyway, I'm running out of time on this video, so what we're going to do is, well, I'll move up the waste trains up to here because, of course, we need to finish the line. We'll keep building this up here, and then in the next video, what I'll do is I'll do a kind of well, an overview of the economy, as I said in the intro. What worked, what didn't work, what I would do differently. Try and identify any potential problems where I may need to, how can you put it, where I may need to kind of address in the future. So that will be the subject of the next video. So this is where I'm going to leave it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.